Can you hear that? Reverb. The most satisfying and addictive effect, if you ask me. The more, the better. But does it also have a dark side? Reverb is often used in the wrong way. It can very easily and unintentionally screw up your mix and your music. So let's tame this beast and let's get creative. Even in natural environments and our everyday surroundings, there are so many different types and flavors of reverb. Just imagine the sound of a car door slammed shut in a parking garage, a choir singing in a gigantic church, or an orchestra playing in a concert hall. To have absolutely no reverb in your song would make it sound very unnatural, dry and lifeless. No matter the type of music, you always want to have at least a little bit of ambience to create some life and to glue the separate elements. Let's now dive into the most important things that you can apply each and every time you slap a reverb onto a track. Tip number 1. Putting your reverb onto an aux track or to a send track. Have you ever felt that you don't have enough control on the reverb that you put directly onto a track? Well, then this one is for you. This is the guitar track that we're going to be putting some reverb on. But now I have limited control over the reverb. If you want to save resources, have more control, and to be able to send multiple tracks to one reverb, then I advise you to put the reverb onto a separate track, as I did here. What you're then going to do is you're going to send the audio to this track. So what you're basically doing is now sending the audio from your guitar track to the reverb. And I can easily mute it by doing this. And the great thing is that the send, it follows the volume of the track because it's set to post fader. That means that if this track is softer, then also the reverb will be softer. From now on, you don't have to put a reverb on each separate track. Just put it as an aux send. Tip number 2. Filtering your reverbs. Reverbs can easily be way too much and they can muddy up your entire track without you even knowing it or being aware of it. What I mean by that is that we get way too many frequencies and often a lot of frequencies that we don't want. Since now we have our reverb onto a separate track, we can do with it what we want. And in this case, I want to filter out all of these frequencies that I don't want. As you can see here, I have a high pass until around 600 Hz, and here I have a low pass until like, let's say 10K. This is what the reverb sounds without the filter. And this is what it sounds like with the filter. And now quickly I want to show you on the analyzer the difference. So first I'm going to start off with the filter turned off or bypassed, and then I'm going to turn it on, and you can see definitely here in the low area a big boost when the filter is turned off. So you can see it, but definitely you can also hear it. Tip number 3, separating the reverb from your dry signal. An often forgotten parameter is the pre-delay. And let me ask you a question. Do you always want to have your reverb sound and your original signal to blend or mix at the same time? By setting the pre-delay, you have the possibility of separating the reverb and the dry signal. So the first track is my dry track, the second one is the one with no pre-delay, and the third one is the reverb sound with pre-delay. Can you see a difference? Setting the pre-delay also helps you place the instrument in the room. For example, if there is no pre-delay, then you hear the reverb sound and the dry signal at the same time. You should visualize it as the performer playing all the way at the end of the hall, and you're at the beginning of the hall. This way the original and the reverb sound reaches you at the same time. This is the dry signal. And this is the signal with reverb, with no pre-delay. If there's pre-delay, then first you hear the dry sound and then you hear the reverberated sound. The fact is that you first hear the performer and then you hear the ambience. And it can be quite beautiful. Just check this out. This one is less noticeable on first hearing, but that doesn't mean that it's less important. Here comes tip number 4, setting the perfect reverb tail. The reverb tail, or the decay time, is the time that it takes for the reverb sound to die away completely. Very often the reverb tail is way too long and it overlaps with the new attack. Sometimes you want this because maybe it can glue something in your performance, but very often you don't want new attacks to mix with each other. Have a listen to this snare sound. This one has way too long decay time. So as you can probably hear, the reverb is just like completely wiping out all the attacks. In this case, what you want to do is you want to lower the decay time for the snare to really sit nicely into the track. You want it to lock in with the timing. I think this sounds a lot better. And this tightening up of the decay time, you really need to do this by ear because each reverb has a different decay time and each and every one of them responds differently to what you do. After this video, you will never ever have an excuse not to take control over your reverbs. And something that you can also take control over is if you've already liked this video. And if not, I invite you to do so. Thank you for joining me all the way to the end. You're the best. And I hope you learned something. And for now, see you next time.